Next up is our next session is an exciting fireside discussion with one of the world's leading global payments and technology company, and the session is called Mastercard Gamer Exchange. And to talk on this, we have our speaker for the fireside chat, who is Manasi Narasimhan, Vice President and Head, Marketing and Communications, South Asia, Mastercard. Please welcome, ma'am. Along with her, I would like to welcome on stage the session chair, Mr. Vinod Thadani, Chief Digital Growth Officer, Dentsu Media Group and CEO, iProspect India. May I have the pleasure of inviting you as well?
Hi, good evening all. After such an entertaining session, I would like to welcome Manasi. Thank you for
Vinod.
Being here. I'll quickly get into the session. So Manasi, we've heard Mastercard doing a lot of stuff, right? I think for all of us today, we want to understand more.
Sure. So Mastercard is in a very interesting position where we are a consumer brand, but we are a B2B business. But one thing we realize is nobody ever gets up any day saying, where do I spend? Where do I use my credit card? Oh, wow, I just can't wait to use my card. But what they do care deeply about is where they spend. So if you're passionate about cricket, for example, and you can use your Mastercard to get a special ticket at a game, that's a wow. Similarly, if you're a foodie and, we get you access to a Michelin-starred restaurant, which you otherwise won't get, that's wow. And that, to be honest, Vinod, is where the gaming journey started. Because gaming is now a revolution. And I'll be honest, I had this perception of the gamer being, a college dropout, some unemployed geek who's sitting at home, sponging off his parents' money. But what the data reveals is there are many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, married, holding full-time jobs, running businesses, having kids, who are passionate gamers. So I think that was a huge learning for me personally. And the other bit, which I think the panel before us also said, it's the second largest gaming market in the world. It's got, I think, about 400 million gamers. So the opportunity is huge. And what we also discovered is gamers are, if there's a word more than passionate, that's what they are about gaming. So people spend hours. They have their own communities, their own language. And it's incredible the passion they have. And in the pandemic, over the last couple of years, that only went up, because we were stuck at home, so it all became virtual. So I think that's why Mastercard is in the space it is. We follow consumer passions, bring people close to what they want, and that's what we're doing on gaming as well.
Great. I think that's pretty interesting to know all these things. So while you've said, and we all know that, and we heard that, right, that India is the second largest, but what are the challenges associated with these?
So see, there is a popular perception about gaming, as with any rapidly growing digital platform, about safety, about the kind of content. You hear allegations that it encourages violence, it corrupts people and so on. Now, as a brand and as a person, I don't say these challenges don't exist. You do need to regulate. You do need to be careful about who you tie up with. But to say that because there is some violence on some things which are inappropriate, don't associate it with at all, I think is a bit much. So at Mastercard, we work with very high standards of safety. We really audit whoever we get into a partnership with. So we have a partnership with eGames, the League of Legends. It's a multi-year, multi-nation partnership. And we're very careful about how we, engage with it. And to be honest, I heard the panel before us saying gaming for good. See, it's a medium at the end of the day, like any other medium. And it's up to us as an ecosystem as to what content you put there. You can also use it to teach kids good things. So that's the way I look at it.
I heard something very, very good today, right now. When we're working with our advertisers and we hear about brand safety issues, ad fraud issues, right? They always tell us that we should take off the platform. We should have third-party audit tools. We should have different kinds of things which needs to be associated with these. But today I heard from Manasi that we also as advertisers need to be more open also. It's not that we are always close to those. There are third-party tools, there are verifications which we can use as long as we want to be there and be optimistic about.
Absolutely.
So, Mansi, how Mastercard is serving as a solution to address the gaps in the rewards redemption industry?
So, Vinod, I'm glad you asked me that because it's something we are very excited about. So, as all of you would know, credit cards, one of the main reasons people use credit cards is for the reward points. And historically, these have been redeemed for airline miles for travel. Now, the genesis of what Mastercard did was again in the pandemic where flying kind of shut down. And then we realized that there's a huge opportunity to enable people to redeem their reward points for game credits. So we have developed something called the Mastercard Gamer Xchange, which literally allows banks to, if they enable the solution, their cardholders can redeem reward points for over 4,000 gaming titles worldwide. And we keep adding to those. So it's a safe, secure, and it's a new option for people to redeem. We're just launching it in some countries in Southeast Asia. And then we will bring this to India and offer it to our banks here.
So you totally gamified the entire thing?
Yeah, well, you could sort of say that.
So we're not only talking about advertising in gaming, you're actually gamified your entire business proposition.
Yeah, we are actually talking of enabling payments in gaming and for gaming, because at the end of the day, we are a payments brand. So one big area of focus for us is how do you enable in-game payments, right? Where people can buy either, avatars or anything related to the game, or indeed over time accessories or, anything based on the gamer's interest. Because at some level, this is no different from any other digital medium. People spend time on YouTube or other video channels. People spend immense time.
So how does Mastercard planning to expand the presence in the gaming industry?
Yeah.
Let's start from there.
Yeah, so I think for us, gaming really has three sort of areas of application. The first one is obviously as a passion point. So if I just step back a little bit, Mastercard actually has 10 passion points around the world. Sports is one of them. So for example, in India, we've partnered with the BCCI to sponsor cricket matches. So again, when you tell a consumer, if you spend on your Mastercard, you could go get a front row seat at Wankhede, that really is money can't buy, and that is priceless. The same thing in the esports space is something that we've seen. And I have seen, may not be in India, but in some of the other Asian markets, people literally go berserk where gaming is concerned. So I think one as a passion point is the first thing. The second thing which I was talking about was purchases, link payments to gaming. And that's a big work stream. And the third one is the Gamer Exchange, where you have these points lying. How do you find convenient ways of redeeming it with gaming titles? If you want to gift someone, if you want to top it up. So how does that user journey become seamless is something that we're working on. So those are, I think, the three big areas.
I think the first one, which you said, the money can't buy one, really resonates with everyone, right? Yeah. While you may have the money, but it's only with Mastercard is when you can go get those moments. And we all know, right? For example, cricket is religion in India. And the thing which you said, you get the first row in Wankhede, maybe people would have the money. But
it is, yeah. And that is the brand's philosophy, that it's actually quite ironic that a payment brand says this, but there are some things in life that money can't buy. And that's what Mastercard tries to bring to life. So in the context of gaming, I've read this research that to attend the esports championship, which was held in Korea, I think pre-pandemic, people said like they would save up for a year just to be able to go there. So that's what I think some of these things mean. And I think the pandemic has taught all of us that life is sadly unpredictable, and indulging your passions is a good way to live. So
absolutely. Yeah. So Manasi, my next one is, give us a view of how Mastercard is establishing itself as a brand for consumers and payment partners for the gaming platforms.
Yeah. So I think one of the concerns in any industry that's growing as rapidly as gaming, in a relatively unorganized way, right? Because there are game developers, content publishers all over the world. It is location agnostic. So there's always the fear that regulation is not in place. And unfortunately, in the payments industry, it takes only one bad experience for somebody to say, oh, I lost my money, or my bank account was cleaned out, or I got spammed. Bad news travels fast, and people kind of latch on to that. So I think for Mastercard, there are 2 or 3 things. I mean, one of the things we stand for is the highest standards of safety in payment. So whether it's for consumers spending in an e-game scenario, or indeed for gamers to offer a commercial card solution where they can find it easy to eventually get a credit line, right? And perhaps then grow their business are the 2 ways we are looking at it.
Manasi, my last one for you. How do you see brands like yours integrating and being part of the gaming journey for the consumers? We saw some of the panelists before, and they were talking about NFT, they were talking about metaverse. Some people said gaming is here to stay. You spoke about how the gaming industry is big in India. What's your views on that?
So is gaming huge in India? I think without a doubt. India is obviously a very mobile-heavy gaming market. It's got 800 million smartphones, and I think about 80% of the gaming in India happens on mobiles, which is then a lot of casual gaming, where the ability to intervene monetarily is probably a little limited. But I think some of that will change. We've been approached by a lot of local developers in India. To your earlier point about the content, there's a lot of gaming around Indian mythology. So there are fun ways of teaching your children about, our mythology and lessons like that. So we potentially see that growing. And then how do we integrate and offer a safe platform for the gamers on the one hand to get to whatever their passion areas are? I think that's philosophically, see, Mastercard is a payment network. We get buyers and sellers together at a very sort of philosophical level, and we want to replicate that in gaming as well.
True. So this is India. How does this compare to the rest of the world?
So I think it depends on which way you look at it, Vinod. So one thing is true is that India is a huge market and it's going to grow because and especially in payments, you've seen this, what the mobile revolution has meant to payments. Yeah. So there are people today who don't use a card as a card, who use a card embedded in their mobiles. And I think that is the humongous opportunity for gaming. When you don't have to plug into a computer, you can literally whip out your phone and, start doing what you do. That's huge. Of course, I think there are more developed markets. I know Southeast Asia, Korea, Japan are probably more advanced in that stage. But I think India will find and define its own path in gaming.
Great. Thank you so much,
Can
Manasi.
I ask a question, Vinod?
Yes, of course, please.
I was
so
just
your comeback in the Indian market, your comeback in the Indian market, your engagement with various sports and gaming, how has that benefited you all in getting your customer base back?
It's benefited us hugely because, as I said, payments is ubiquitous, but payments is very dry. People want their payment to be fast, effective, and seamless, and they want to focus on the outcome of that payments. So if you're a gaming enthusiast and I say, use your Mastercard because only we give you access to League of Legends, that's going to switch you. It doesn't matter, 5% off somewhere, 100 rupees cash back, that's done to death. And that never brings consumer loyalty. This kind of thing does. So
You've done exclusive tie-ups with certain gaming programs?
Yes.
So which of these are they?
So we have so far League of Legends, Riot Sports, and 1 or 2 others in other markets. And we are exploring a few more, which you'll hear about in a few weeks. But we are open to stuff. So one of the things we have realized, so for example, the cricket tie-up, I've spent a lot of time explaining to people who don't understand cricket what cricket is. So there is the understanding that India is a unique market. And if there are solutions which are relevant here, because you're right, we were under a regulatory embargo for a year. So now it's about we do what it takes to get it right in this market.
So please keep backing the gaming ecosystem. It needs support from global brands such as yours. And a big thank you for backing the ecosystem. Thank you very much.
I just have a point here. In your earlier session, you were talking about brands, agencies, investing in the gaming. I think we heard from Manasi that it's not only about advertising. It's also about how can they integrate and work together to maybe make a new industry. And the way Manasi spoke about how Mastercard has gamified the whole thing itself shows that this is a very, very big medium for us. It's not only going to be advertising. Advertising will happen, but there are other ways and means to integrate in the brand. So thank you, Manasi.
More power to you guys. More power to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much.